A lone cyclist pedaled furiously through the African savanna, his heart pounding as a massive lion gave chase. But what happened next would leave even the most seasoned wildlife experts in disbelief. The midday sun blazed down mercilessly as Jack, an adventurous traveler and vlogger, found himself deep in the wild African bush. He was biking along a dusty trail, nearly 30 kilometers from the nearest reserve. Despite countless warnings about the dangers lurking in this untamed wilderness, Jack's insatiable thirst for exploration had always outweighed any sense of fear. Suddenly, a thunderous roar shattered the stillness of the savannah. Jack's blood ran cold as he turned his head, only to be confronted by a sight that would haunt his dreams for years to come. A massive male lion, its golden mane flowing majestically in the wind, was charging straight towards him with terrifying speed and purpose. In that moment, instinct took over. Jack's legs pumped furiously as he pedaled with every ounce of strength he possessed. His lungs burned, and his heart threatened to burst from his chest. As he pushed himself to the absolute limit, death felt like it was mere inches away, its hot breath practically singeing the back of his neck. But then, something utterly unexpected happened. Just as Jack was certain his life was about to come to a violent end, the lion didn't attack. Collapsing from sheer exhaustion on the side of the trail, Jack watched in stunned disbelief as the massive predator skidded to a halt just a few meters away. The lion let out a deep, distressed roar that seemed to reverberate through Jack's very bones. Then, to his utter amazement, the beast turned and ran off toward a thick patch of nearby bushes. Jack lay there, gasping for air, his mind reeling as he tried to process what had just transpired. Every survival instinct screamed at him to flee, to put as much distance between himself and the lion as humanly possible. But as he replayed those final moments in his mind, Jack realized something that gave him pause. In the lion's eyes, he hadn't seen rage or bloodlust. Instead, there had been a look of desperation, what could only be described as pleading. Against all logic and self-preservation, something deep within Jack's heart urged him to follow. It was as if some primal connection had been forged in those terrifying moments. A silent understanding between man and beast that defied explanation. With trembling legs, Jack rose to his feet and cautiously made his way in the direction the lion had disappeared. Minutes later, he found himself standing at the edge of a deep pit in the ground. The sight that greeted him was both heartbreaking and awe-inspiring. At the bottom of the pit, a tiny lion cub cried out weakly, its pitiful mews echoing off the steep dirt walls, as it tried in vain to claw its way to freedom. Above, the massive male lion paced restlessly, roaring in agony as it looked helplessly down at its trapped offspring. In that moment, everything became crystal clear to Jack. The lion hadn't been chasing him with the intent to kill. It had been desperately seeking help for its child. The realization hit Jack like a physical blow, filling him with a mix of wonder and humility at the intelligence and emotional depth of this magnificent creature. Swallowing his fear and steeling his nerves, Jack knew what he had to do. He retrieved a rescue rope from his backpack, silently thanking whatever foresight had led him to pack such an item. With shaking hands, he secured one end to a nearby tree and began to carefully lower himself into the pit, using all the survival skills he'd accumulated over years of adventure. Jack gently lifted the frightened cub and pushed it upward towards its anxious parent. The lion above, displaying an astonishing gentleness that belied its massive size and fearsome reputation, carefully took hold of its cub in powerful jaws. With infinite care, the great beast pulled its offspring to safety. Exhausted but exhilarated, Jack then climbed out of the pit himself, his body trembling from the surge of adrenaline coursing through his veins. As Jack emerged, an eerie silence fell over the savannah. 3 living beings, a man and 2 wild creatures, stood motionless in the open wilderness, regarding one another with a mixture of wariness and wonder. The weight of the moment was palpable, as if the very fabric of reality had shifted to accommodate this unprecedented encounter. Slowly, deliberately, the lion approached Jack. He held his breath, every muscle in his body tensed as he braced for the worst. But instead of the violent end he expected, Jack felt the lion gently lower its massive head, pressing its forehead against his outstretched hand in a gesture of pure, unmistakable gratitude. The touch was warm, almost electric, and in that moment, Jack felt a connection to the natural world more profound than anything he had ever experienced. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the moment passed. The lion turned and walked away, its rescued cub trotting safely by its side. Jack watched them disappear into the golden grass of the savannah, his mind struggling to process the miraculous events that had just unfolded. 3 months passed, but the memory of that extraordinary day never faded from Jack's mind. He found himself drawn back to Africa, this time accompanied by a wildlife protection team eager to document the unique fauna of the region. As they filmed the breathtaking landscapes and diverse animal life, Jack's thoughts often drifted back to his encounter with the lion and its cub. One sweltering afternoon, as the team was setting up their equipment near a watering hole, Jack spotted unmistakable signs of a lion pride in the area. His pulse quickened as he scanned the horizon, hardly daring to hope. And then, as if summoned by his very thoughts, a familiar figure emerged from the tall grass. It was him. The same majestic lion that had changed Jack's life all those weeks ago. There was no aggression in the great cat's demeanor, only a sense of recognition that sent shivers down Jack's spine. By the lion's side stood the cub, now healthy and strong, its playful bounds a testament to its renewed vitality. Once again, defying all expectations and conventional wisdom about wild animal behavior, the lion approached Jack. The rest of the film crew watched in stunned silence, cameras rolling as the king of beasts lowered its head before the man who had saved its child. For a breathless moment, lion and man regarded each other, a silent acknowledgement passing between them of the bond they now shared. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the lion turned and melted back into the brush, leaving Jack and his astonished colleagues to marvel at what they had witnessed. As Jack stood there, surrounded by the wild beauty of the African savannah, he was struck by a profound realization. The wild never truly forgets. And sometimes, neither do its kings. In the days and weeks that followed, Jack's incredible story spread like wildfire. Wildlife experts and conservationists from around the world clamored to hear his first-hand account and study the remarkable footage captured by his team. The encounter challenged long-held beliefs about animal intelligence and emotion, sparking heated debates and inspiring new avenues of research. For Jack, however, the experience was deeply personal. It had fundamentally altered his perception of the natural world and his place within it. He found himself driven by a newfound passion for wildlife conservation, using his platform as a vlogger to raise awareness about the importance of protecting these magnificent creatures and their habitats. As he continued his travels documenting the wonders of the natural world, Jack carried with him the memory of that extraordinary day on the African savannah. It served as a constant reminder of the unexpected connections that can form between species, and the profound impact a single act of kindness can have, even in the wildest and most unpredictable of circumstances. And somewhere out there, roaming the vast expanse of the African wilderness, a lion and its cub continued to thrive, living proof that sometimes the most powerful bonds are forged in the most unlikely of moments.